Oh my goodness, you're real. This is the most people I've been with for my living memory. This is not a story about science. I wake up and realize I'm late, which is kind of normal for me. So I need to get out of bed quickly and into the kitchen and make some coffee and get going with my day. And this is quite easy for me because I've recently moved to New York City. And so my bed occupies the whole of my bedroom. And when I open the door, I'm going to be straight in the kitchen because, why waste time? And so I'm doing that. I'm in the process of rolling out of bed and opening the door and kind of getting myself into the kitchen. And I pause just for a second and I look down. And I'm glad that I paused because in front of me, in front of my bedroom door, is a big pile of shit. Dennis. So I've been in New York for a few months now, and it's really great. I love living there, I love working there, and I have this really cool roommate, and there's just this one tiny problem. My roommate, Kathy, has a teeny tiny dog named Dennis. He's 1/2 Chihuahua, 1/2 Yorkshire Terrier, 1/2 squirrel. In my opinion, he's not really a proper dog at all, and yet somehow he manages to produce, most mornings in front of my door, a pile of poop the size of himself. There's no love lost between me and Dennis. He, aside from not being a proper dog, and walking in a sort of prance rather than a walk, he also is the alpha in the house, which is very annoying to me. So we're kind of locked in this battle where I won't let him in my space and he poops outside of it. But I do really love Kathy and I love living with her. And so, when she goes away, it's kind of silly for her to hire a dog sitter. And so I walk Dennis. I'm actually a little afraid of most dogs, not this one, clearly, because he's tiny. But my mum, when she was a teenager, she was bitten by a German Shepherd. And so she was always really, really scared of dogs. And she tried really hard not to pass that on to me by doing things like, as we walk past the dog, holding my hand really tightly and saying through gritted teeth, "It's okay, just keep walking." Which I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but you never feel okay. And so I've always been nervous around big dogs. And now I'm walking this tiny squirrel and he's standing up to them because he's the alpha in his mind. And so I frequently have to grab him out of the jaws of these bigger dogs. And gradually he starts curing me of this fear. And I start noticing dogs as I'm out and about, and I say hi to them instead of their owners. And before I know it, I'm kind of forming a little bit of an alliance with Dennis, and I don't mind him so much anymore. He doesn't poop less, but still, we're working on it. And one day Kathy comes home and she looks really serious and she's holding Dennis in her arms. And there's blood on his head. And it turns out that she went to see a friend of hers, and her friend's dog attacked him the minute he walked in the door, grabbed him by the head and shook him. And she managed to kind of swoop in and wrench the dog's jaws open. She brings him home. And at first he seems okay, but after a couple of days, he starts doing this weird thing where he will just stop and start shaking. And he's sort of flinches if we touch him, and she takes him to the vet. And they give him an MRI scan, which is what you do in New York, apparently. And the MRI scan shows that there was the bite went through his skull into his little brain, and it caused an infection, and there's a piece of his brain just gone. And he didn't have that much to begin with, so it actually doesn't affect him that much, but he's really shaky for a while, and he seems in pain, and we have to give him his meds, and I just start taking more care of him with her, and sometimes when I'm sitting watching TV, he'll climb up these little steps that he has because he's too pathetic to jump on the couch, and he'll just snuggle up next to me. And sometimes when Kathy goes away, I let him sleep in my bed. And he has to be the big spoon, obviously. And so So he like gets in the small of my back, and he's like really bony. He's all like elbows, and I'm terrified that I'm going to crush him when I turn over. But he's developed this tactic where he like scrabbles at my back with all 4 feet, just enough to wake me up, and then I just kind of shift, and then I fall back asleep again with him there. When it comes time for Kathy to move back to the UK, she's only got a limited time in New York. I realize I'm not just going to miss her, I'm going to miss Dennis as well. So I respond the only way I know how, by getting shit-faced. And I wake up one morning to the sound of the buzzer on my apartment door. And I'm so hungover. I kind of drag myself out of bed, and I go to the door, and it's this a student from my work and his girlfriend. And I remember kind of blurrily that they were coming to pick up some shelves that Kathy had left when she moved out. And I'm like, okay, I've got this. All I have to do is give them the shelves, go back to sleep. So they come in, and I show them where the shelves are, and we pull them away from the wall. And as we pull them away from the wall, down the back of these white IKEA shelves is this thick, gelatinous, yellow layer of dried up pee. Dennis! I'm so embarrassed. And it smells so bad. How did we not smell this? He's clearly been doing this for weeks, leaving his little mark so that I will never forget him. And I'm like, you don't have to take the shelves. And they're so fucking nice. They're like, no, it's okay. We'll just clean them up and we'll take them. And I'm like, no, you really don't have to take the shelves. And they're like, no, we'll take them. So I like get the Clorox and the wipes, and I'm cleaning up the shelves. And eventually I get them clean, and there's still a yellow stain down the back of these shelves, but they're so nice. And you know, I'm like, you can have your money back. And they're like, no, we'll take them. So they take them out of the apartment. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. I close the door, and I immediately run to the bathroom and throw up. And then I get back into my bed in my tiny room. And as I'm laying there, I can kind of feel the ghost of this little bony character, you know, nestled up in the small of my back. Maybe I'll miss the big spoon, but not today. Thank you.
Dr. Paula Croxson, everyone. All right.